everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. 27 points, 5 rebounds. Welcome to Pelicans Flock Report, where I give you everything New Orleans Pelicans from a fan's perspective. I'm your host, D. Broussard. And first things first, man, like I always say before I get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, the all-new Pelicans Flock Report. Shout out to everybody that's already subscribed, man. I really appreciate y'all. And as long as y'all keep subscribing, I'm going to keep on dropping this content. Trey Murphy on the trade block. That's the huge question mark that's going around right now concerning Trey Murphy. Is he on the trade block? Is he not on the trade block? It came out during the season that Trey Murphy was untouchable, and now his name has been constantly mentioned as a possible trade candidate for the New Orleans Pelicans, a trade asset, I would say, for the New Orleans Pelicans. And it's just been heating up a lot here lately, man. You know, Trey Murphy's name has been coming up a lot. And I think it's mainly because Trey Murphy has become one of the most valuable assets that the Pelicans own. Now, of course, Trey Murphy is an elite three-point shooter with size and athleticism, and also he fits perfectly in today's NBA as a two-way wing. The two-way wing has become one of the most valuable positions in the NBA, specifically because, you know, the floor space and everything like that. When you think of a two-way wing, you can kind of think of a guy like OG Anunoby, who played a key role in the Knicks winning the championship this season. You know, I would say OG Anunoby would kind of be a two-way wing. A guy like Mikal Bridges, two-way wing. So the two-way wing is very, very valuable around the league in today's NBA. And you know, he's still in his prime. You know, Trey Murphy is still a young guy. You know, he's still in his prime. And at this point of his career, he's only going to get better. Like, he hasn't really hit his peak or his ceiling just yet in the NBA. So I think that's why he's a very sought after player, because I think a lot of other teams see his full potential and they see what they can do if they were able to add a guy like Trey Murphy to their roster. So I think that makes him a very valuable asset for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, like I said, trade rumors are heating up. Teams around the league, like I said, are looking for versatile wings, guys that can play defense and offense. And also, the Pelicans may need to retool and reshape this current roster. I've spoken about that several times, about the Pelicans possibly reshaping and retooling the roster. Obviously, you know, we hired a new coach, Jamal Mosley. So I feel like you're definitely going to have to get guys in there that are going to be able to kind of fit Jamal Mosley's style of play. And I feel like a lot of the guys that we currently have on our roster, I wouldn't say that they fit Jamal Mosley's style of play 100%. I feel like, you know, they can maybe get there, but I feel like right now, I just feel like this roster that we have just doesn't really fit Jamal Mosley's style of play. And also, Trey Murphy's value may never be higher than it is right now. Now, as we know, trade value goes up and down around the league. You know, you can have a guy where, you know, his trade value will be really high, and then the next season it'll be really low because maybe he comes out and he doesn't have a really good productive season like he had in that season when his value was high, or he could possibly be injured the entire season. So that would definitely decrease his value. So I feel like right now with Trey Murphy, you know, his value is very, very high right now. Um, more than it's ever been. You know, obviously, you know, Trey Murphy got it out the mud. You know, he was in the G League. He played his way up to the active roster. So, you know, this kid has been, you know, at the bottom and fought his way up to the top. So, now his value is a lot higher than, what it was in previous years. Now, if we decide to keep Trey Murphy, um, of course, one of the few players I feel that could fit with any NBA superstar would be Trey Murphy. He definitely provides floor spacing for Zion Williamson. We know that from the previous seasons. You always see Zion penetrating that lane and getting that double team, getting them to double down on defense, and him being able to kick it out or dish it out to Trey for a wide open three. We see them play together like that all the time. And Trey Murphy is one of the guys that can actually fit with Zion Williamson. Now, over the years, they've uh well, it's always been a lot of talk around finding the right guys that can fit around a guy like Zion Williamson. And Trey Murphy is just, in my opinion, one of those guys that can fit with Trey Murphy. I mean, fit with Zion Williamson. And, it was a lot of talk during the Brandon Ingram era that Brandon Ingram didn't really fit well alongside Zion. So that was kind of reason why the Pelicans didn't want to offer him the contract that he was looking for, because they felt like he didn't really fit well with Zion. Well, Trey Murphy fits well with Zion. And also, he's a strong defender with room to continue developing. Of course, like I said in the last episode, Trey Murphy has become a better defender. I feel like he's probably going to become an even better defender under Jamal Mosley. So I feel like that's a huge plus for Trey Murphy. He's continuing to develop on defense. He's already been consistent on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that was kind of like one of the knocks on Trey Murphy the previous years was just his defending, him not really being that good of a defender. But this season, I feel like he definitely stepped up a whole lot and got a whole lot better on the defensive end. And he's only going to continue to develop. And I feel like at some point Trey Murphy is going to become an all-star. I feel like Trey Murphy, in my opinion, had an all-star season this season. He had several 40-plus point games, and at times it really looked like Trey Murphy was the main star on this Pelicans roster, even with Zion on the basketball court. So I feel like Trey Murphy, in my opinion, this past season, he had an all-star season. I really felt like he had an all-star season. I mean, obviously he didn't make it, but I felt like Trey Murphy should have been an all-star in this past season. Now, of course, if you trade Trey Murphy, um, it definitely could bring back an all-star or um, a superstar type player, multiple assets like draft picks and such. So, trading him would probably help uh the Pelicans, get back another superstar. And in my opinion, that would be the only reason why you would trade a guy like Trey Murphy, in my opinion. Like, I feel like Trey Murphy is, like I said, he's gonna be a superstar. I would really love to see him continue to play with the Pelicans and continue his career with the Pelicans. But I feel like if you're going to trade him, you have to get somebody like a superstar caliber player back in return and some assets like draft picks to let a guy like Trey Murphy go. Like I said, a guy that fits your franchise player, fits with him on the basketball court. He's very athletic. He's jumping out the gym. He can shoot the three ball. He's still developing offensively, adding more moves to his game. He's gonna be a superstar. So you have to get a superstar back in return if you're gonna trade a guy like that. And also, um, if, of course, like I said, the Pelicans, you know, may need to reshape the roster. So, that would be, a reason for trading Trey Murphy. And trading from a position of strength could definitely accelerate the retool, you know. So as far as us trading from a position of strength, I definitely feel like it would definitely, set up that retool for this roster to I hope get better. if we're going to trade away a guy like Trey Murphy, we definitely have to be getting better, not worse. So, you know, that's just what comes with trading Trey Murphy. But I don't know if we should trade him, man. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of like in the middle with the decision, if that were to happen. Um, like I said, I just feel like if we do, we have to get somebody, that's on Trey Murphy's level or better in return. Now, everything always comes down to this guy right here. I continue to say that Zion Williamson is always going to play a part in every decision that the Pelicans front office makes. So if you're going to make a decision when it comes to the team, you're definitely going to have to factor in Zion Williamson because everything revolves around him. And if the Pelicans are continuing to build around Zion, like they've already said that they're going to do, they're going to continue building around Zion, then I feel like Trey Murphy is still the ideal fit to continue building around Zion. As I said before, Zion and Trey Murphy, in my opinion, when I'm watching the games, they have a really good chemistry together. So I feel like Trey is the ideal fit if you're going to continue to build around Zion. That's just me. Um, and of course, if the front office has questions about, the current core, then I feel like everyone except the young core, like Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, would possibly be available on the trade block, if the front office feel like, this current roster that we have right now is questionable and they don't feel like this team is going to win, even with the new, excuse me, head coach, like Jamal Mosley. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see. This has been, like I said, a huge topic here lately. Honestly, I don't really know how I personally feel about it. I like Trey Murphy a lot. So I definitely would hate to see him go. I'm gonna be honest. But if it's gonna make us better, as I said before in the previous episode, if trading away anyone on the roster is gonna make us better, I feel like that's what I'm looking to see. I'm definitely, as a fan, I'm tired of the mediocrity. I'm tired of seeing the Pelicans lose. I'm tired of seeing us at the bottom of the conference every year, riddled with injuries, things of that nature. I just feel like as a fan, it's time for um, some excitement and something to cheer for. So I feel like if, we're going to trade anyone, we have to be, uh, getting better as a basketball team and as a franchise. And the main question that I would say is, do you uh, continue to build around Trey Murphy or do you cash in while his value is high? That's the huge question. Do you continue to build around Trey Murphy or do you cash in on Trey Murphy while his value is still high and you can possibly get something uh, major back for him? Do you take advantage of that? I don't know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments, man. Do you continue building around Trey Murphy or do you cash in on Trey Murphy while his value is high? Y'all let me know down below in the comments, man. Like always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, the all new Pelicans Flock Report. I'm your host, D. Broussard. Until next time, go Pels. I'm out, man.